Well, the world's focus has been on Cairo's Freedom Square, but there are huge protests going on elsewhere in Egypt. In the country's second city, Alexandria, thousands of men, women and children are still on the streets defying the curfew tonight. They say they're going to stay out until Mubarak is gone. There are also reports of protests in Mansour, Damanhur and Suez. And with the internet shut down, it is extremely difficult to get accurate information. But our international editor, Lindsey Hilsum, is tonight in Alexandria.
We set off 2 hours after curfew. A few cars were still on the streets, being stopped at checkpoints, manned by what they're calling the Popular Front, vigilante groups. At first we were unsure if they'd let us through, but they gave us a password, and then we were free to drive wherever we wanted. So we headed for Martyrs Square, where I'd heard people were having a sit-down protest. We arrived as dusk fell and were immediately mobbed. We met a man who said his son had been shot while peacefully protesting on Friday. He said he even knew the name of the policeman who did it.
He shot my son through the head and the bullet came out the other side. He and his fellow officers are part of the regime, and they are thugs. The terrorism we see now, the thugs we catch in their cars defying the people, are police officers and sergeants, not just ordinary criminals.
We never made it into the square because the people pushed and shouted and wouldn't let us through until we'd heard their message: Mubarak must go. Earlier in the day, a TV crew had been chased by an unfriendly crowd. But these people just wanted to make sure we understood their determination and anger against the government. We don't want him, she shouted. Mubarak must leave, along with his gang. We don't want any of them.
I'm told there are fewer people here today than yesterday, but this crowd is very passionate. People are holding up the banners saying Mubarak is a pig. They're using incredibly rude language about the president. They say that they just want him to go, that what he's done by appointing a vice president is just not enough. The people here, they're just crushing against us. It's almost impossible to film. They're so desperate to tell us what they think, to give us their message. They're all crowding in. It's almost impossible to walk through this square. And they say there are going to be even more people here tomorrow.
Such was the jostling and enthusiasm, we couldn't reach those who say they'll sit in the square until President Mubarak resigns.
Well, tell me why the people are so angry.
People are so angry because they need food, they need to live, they need freedom. They are looking for freedom.
Yeah?
We have no freedom. It's a country full of police.
We drove back through the almost empty town, the men on roadblocks looming in the dark and waving us through. From a vantage point, we saw 2 young men being arrested and taken away by soldiers. We don't know why. A vestige of state authority in a city where vigilantes and protesters rule the streets. Lindsey Hilsum, Channel 4 News, Alexandria.